Well, good evening. I have my water here because it says no food or drink allowed, so I wanted to make sure nobody felt bad. But I'm bummed. This is my killing time while a few people wander in. I did take some improv courses, but I did not quit my day job. All right, well, this is great. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to the McKelvey Engineering Awards ceremony, and it's really wonderful to how many people attend and join. And it's really a community-oriented event. Special thanks and welcome to the families and friends of our honorees tonight. We're really glad that you're here. I think we're streaming this, right? So to all of you out there in the ether world, we miss you. It'd be great if you were here. Let's see. Tomorrow morning, actually, talking about folks that are here, tomorrow morning is the McKelvey Engineering National Council meeting, and several of our members are here tonight. And actually, since this is an evening for lots of applause, would all the current and former National Council members stand and we could recognize you with a big round of applause? Yeah, there we go. Thank you for all you do for us, for your advocacy, and just keeping us thinking straight. Tonight, we'll introduce to you our Alumni Achievement Award honorees, our Engineering Entrepreneurship Award honoree, and I will also have the honor of presenting the Dean's Award to a very deserving couple. In addition to this evening's awards, on April 19th, right, so that's like a week from Friday, does that sound about right? Somewhere around that? Which should be just after my third grandchild is born, so that'll be great. So I will come back for that. We will also recognize 4 recent McKelvey Engineering alumni at the Emerging Leaders Awards ceremony. That will be an event here. It'll also be streamed live. We hope that folks can join us. Tonight, we recognize those who've made their mark. Next week, we honor an inspiring slate of younger alums who are already making a positive impact in their community, on our country, and in the world. Please join me, some of them are here tonight, in recognizing our 2024 Emerging Leader Award recipients, Joe Beggs, Vanu Ganesh, Maisie Mahoney, and Jennifer Sisto-Gall. Let's give them a round of applause as well. And remember, that's April 19th, which is also the Friday of reunion weekend. I know some of you will be here. As all of you know, at McKelvey Engineering, we work pretty hard to try to solve society's greatest challenges, to prepare students to become leaders, to be a catalyst for economic development, both here in St. Louis and across the country and, in fact, the globe. But clearly, the greatest impact that we have is through the people we produce. And this year's McKelvey Engineering Award honorees, they have actively made a difference. Their outstanding achievements contribute to our reputation as a premier school for learning, for discovery, for service, and for leadership. They really exemplify the best qualities of our school. They achieve success as engineers by applying their skills in a variety of fields, such as aerospace, technology, automation, space exploration, and telecommunications. They've been addressing major challenges facing our world, and their accomplishments are really a testament to the legacy of service to society. One of the one of the fun responsibilities of being a dean is that I get to help select the alumni honorees. And at the end of the day, my criteria are actually pretty simple. Would I be proud to present these folks to our students as examples of what can be achieved by a WashU engineering graduate? And I can assuredly say that all of you surpass that bar. In addition to achieving great things after their time at WashU, our honorees have also exceptional in other ways. They've contributed to their alma mater with generosity through scholarship support, mentorship with students, expertise that they've shared with the faculty, service on regional cabinets, on the McKelvey National Council, and even the Board of Trustees. And to all our honorees, I thank you for your enduring interest and your dedicated engagement to this school. Frankly, you guys make me optimistic that our momentum will keep moving forward and that we'll have great success in the future. So, without further ado, let's begin the awards ceremony. With these awards, we'll recognize alumni who've contributed significantly to their career fields and communities. Tonight, our honorees, they've innovated, they've collaborated, they've worked in multidisciplinary environments, and they've invested in opportunities that strengthen their personal, their professional, and civic responsibilities. Bob Benken, Lori Bowen, Greg Heislip, David Mullenhoff. It says Edward Liu, but we all know it's Eddie Liu. And Charlotte and John Berra, they exemplify a passionate devotion to excellence and represent WashU's commitment to preparing leaders. So our first honoree tonight, Bob Benken, served in the U.S. Air Force and as a NASA astronaut for more than 20 years. Bob is now retired from active military service and the NASA Astronaut Office and currently serves as Director of Technology Acceleration for Lockheed Martin Space. Bob has received numerous awards from NASA, the U.S. Air Force Test Pilot School, and more importantly, WashU. And among others, was recently received the rarely awarded Congressional Space Medal of Honor. I guess that's a big deal too. Anyway, Bob, thank you for your contributions.
You know, it's interesting how I decided to attend Washington University. I was interested in an engineering school, a school that I could get some good science background. At Washington University, the thing that most impressed me was the ability to be multidisciplinary. And so all the projects that I worked on that were a little bit extracurricular or even in the engineering curriculum kind of led us to kind of a multidisciplinary approach. A lot of engineers and scientists kind of get narrow in their field, and I was just excited to have the opportunity and the continuous push to be as broad as possible. My path to NASA is an interesting one. It was that engineering challenge, the difficulty of human spaceflight and the challenges that you have to overcome was something I was interested in being a part of. During my career with NASA, we covered a wide spectrum of activities. We built the International Space Station. I got the opportunity to be the chief of the astronaut office for a few years. When I retired from NASA, I took a role at Lockheed Martin Space, and my position is the Director of Technology Acceleration. My primary responsibility is the execution of demonstration of new technologies, and so I'm lucky that Lockheed has made the investment to build spacecraft specifically for the purpose of showcasing their technologies, and so I get to lead the teams that accomplish that. I've been really lucky from a family perspective. You know, I think a lot of astronauts, as they look back, it's always difficult to really understand whether or not your family understands the job that you have, the risks that you take, or why you take them. In my case, my wife is also an astronaut. I'm really, really lucky to have a spouse that truly understands the work that I've had in front of me. Bringing my son along has been a very different experience. And so on my mission to the International Space Station on the Dragon capsule, I wanted to make sure that he understood what that was going to be like. And so my wife and I brought him to Florida to see a cargo launch. There's some great photos of him holding a space shuttle, watching a rocket launch at the same time that he's in my arms. He was not a fan of me riding a rocket. After we came back from the trip, he was good with me going and then mom going as long as he got to go third. And so we'll see if that plays out in his future. It's important, I think, for all alumni to recognize that the experiences that they gained at Washington University have contributed to the successes that they've had later. That's certainly true of me. I take it as a personal responsibility to both share my experiences as an astronaut, as an executive at Lockheed, as a WashU alumni with the folks that are going to follow behind me and teach them and remind them that where they're going is not decided yet. WashU is definitely playing a big role in what they'll be able to do in the future. So I'm just thankful that whether it's my peers or it's the faculty at Washington University have recognized my experience and graded it as successful, and kind of be able to go forward with that recognition is something that's really inspiring to me to continue to try to do great things.
Bob, please join me. We can do that afterwards. First we put this on. You have to duck. That's right. Next to you should be taller. Right.
Well, thank you, Dean Bobick. I will be brief here because I know there are several folks, and we do want to have the chance to have a dialogue with the folks that are here, like we just had, and so I don't want to belabor you with my comments. I would like to reference just my family, because the successes that I have wouldn't be possible without my wife Megan and my son Theodore being supportive of the responsibilities that I've taken on and made the ability for our family to adapt and do some of the things that you see. It's not an easy path, although it looks glamorous. It isn't always the case. I do want to re-emphasize kind of a conversation I had with some of the students and some of the faculty as well that during the reception period. Washington University was a place that I came as a student on a mission. My intent was to complete a physics degree to make the Air Force happy, because I needed to satisfy their requirements to accept a scholarship. I wanted to get a mechanical engineering degree for my purposes, and WashU created an environment where I could do that in a multidisciplinary approach. I could bring those two degrees together, and they could figure out a solution that let me accomplish that in 4 years. And so that wasn't an easy challenge. It wasn't something that everyone was completely on board with the flexibility that was going to be required, but that supportive environment made me successful in that endeavor and the many endeavors, I think, in the future that was in front of me. So thank you, Dean Bobick. I appreciate the award tonight, and thank you to the faculty and the crowd that accepted.
I should mention that when Bob went up in space just a couple years ago on the first manned Dragon capsule flight, he recorded a greeting from space for our incoming students. And yeah, they were totally blown away. Lori Bowen, combining her engineering, computer science, and management acumen and her ability to navigate both the technical and the human side of business, Lori Bowen has had really a remarkable career as a leader in a multi-billion-dollar communications and technology organization. Lori is still sought after for her expertise, serving as non-executive board director for 3 differently publicly traded companies. Lori is a valued member of our McKelvey National Engineering Council, is passionate about our women in engineering initiatives, and is a Brookings partner and Elliott Society benefactor supporting the Bowen Family Scholarship. Lori also serves as a court-appointed guardian ad litem, representing the best interests of vulnerable children.
My name is Lori Bowen. I graduated in 1983 with a BS in electrical engineering and computer science. I decided to come to Washington University primarily because one of my teachers went to Washington University, and he always talked about the school and how great it was. I liked the school. I liked the reputation of the school. It's obviously a great university. After the first semester, I joined the engineering school and headed down the path of studying electrical engineering and computer science. In terms of how it felt to be a woman joining the engineering school, I'm 18 years old. I'm walking into a school where there are very few women. A lot of them aren't really taking you seriously. And so you do have to make sure you're putting your case forward about who you are, what you can do, how you do it. I worked for IBM for 2 summers, and then when I graduated, they offered me a full-time position in St. Louis, working in the technical sales area. They chose me because they had some very technical customers, and those customers didn't want your average salesperson. They wanted someone who really understood technology. So because I had the combination of the engineering experience and I had the experience of working in sales with them, so I had a bit of an extroverted personality, we managed to put those two together, and it worked really well for me. After that period, British Telecom noticed me. There was an ex-boss of mine at IBM who became a very senior person at BT. And he said, she's the one who can actually fix our financial services business. It was a $500 million business, and there was no way I could turn that down. Problem solving for me was so fundamental to the engineering education and process And it's exactly what you need to do as you get into those more senior executive positions. I became known for being not afraid of technology, willing to get into the detail of products and services and understanding them at a core level, being able to solve problems, fix things, fix businesses. But of course, all of that was on the foundation of I spent 20 years at IBM learning how to sell and growing businesses. I know from my work that we need so many more women in engineering. When it came time to look at how can I support the engineering school, I wanted to help a smart, talented female engineering student who may not be able to come to our school, but who qualified for it. Receiving the Alumni Achievement Award has been a tremendous honor. I was delighted to get the phone call, and really it was a big surprise for me. I spent most of my career thinking that I needed to do more, to be more, to achieve more. To have that award is a real sense of accomplishment for me. It's a great feeling, and I really appreciate what Washington University has brought to me. Thank you very, oh, am I ringing? First off, really, a massive thank you. It's a tremendous honor. And I have so many fond memories of my time here at Washington University, just big development time in my life, and it meant a great deal to me. I then spent so much of my career outside of the US, so I kind of lost touch with WashU. And 10 years ago, I came back to the US and started to re-engage here with the team, and it's been so rewarding, and I've really enjoyed being a part of the community, even though I'm not here in St. Louis. And as much as I can do, I would like to keep that going as best I can. So I really appreciate it, and I just, a big thank you to you for recognizing me. I think it means a lot to me. Thank you.
I'm thrilled to say that at the moment, 41% of the incoming class this year were women. I may be even more excited that tonight I'm going to have my picture taken with some folks who had their pictures with the President of the United States and the current King of England. So I think that's a pretty big deal. Our next honoree, Greg Heislip, after earning his doctorate here at WashU, spent more than 4 decades in the technical and leadership roles in the aerospace industry. First at McDonnell Douglas and then at the Boeing Company, Greg tackled a variety of responsibilities, culminating in his service as the company's chief engineer, where he focused on elevating and strengthening engineering across the entire company alongside the CEO. Now chief engineer emeritus, which I gotta say, that is such a great title. Greg continues serving Boeing through his contributions to leadership development, technology strategy, program management, and university engagement. Greg has long been committed to advancing those around him and was honored by the Society of Women Engineers for his leadership in advancing women in engineering. He readily offers his guidance and leadership to several industry and academic groups, currently serving as a member of the McKelvey Engineering National Council and previously the Washington University Board of Trustees.
I started out at Nebraska. I was convinced I was going to be an orthopedic surgeon, but it became evident early on that medicine was not going to be where my passions lie. I got into electrical engineering, and I get to my senior year in EE and I realize I really liked the math behind engineering more than the engineering itself. I was very intrigued that at WashU they had this department called System Science and Mathematics. With what I was doing at work and what I was doing academically, things aligned perfectly. So those were really good years. I came from Nebraska, big state school, and then I show up at WashU. It was more intense, just the caliber of students I was in classes with, particularly in the SSM department. Even though I realized this is a different playing field that I'm on now, I was so aligned with what I wanted to study, what the department offered, that I really felt like I was home. My time at Boeing, I was with the company 41 years. I was on the defense side starting out. I was a guidance control engineer, working on guidance systems for cruise missiles. There I transitioned to leading engineering teams. The middle 10 years of my career was in classified programs. In the third decade of my career was spent doing missile defense programs. And then the last 10 years of my career was in corporate assignments. And then eventually went on the executive council. And then the last 4 years I was a chief engineer. The higher you go in your career in any organization, the more your responsibility becomes to lead change. The experience at WashU was invaluable for my career. It's primarily, working on the dissertation. You have to have the backbone and the resilience and perseverance to see it through and get through those difficult times. When I was working on my dissertation, I had the breakthrough and I was able to finish the proof. That feeling, that really was my favorite memory, of my time at WashU. What I hope to achieve, continuing on the National Council and with McKelvey is bring in the big company perspective, bring in an aerospace perspective. For students that are enrolled in engineering now, you've got to learn as much as you can about data science, machine learning, and AI, along with what you're learning in your traditional engineering, physics-based curriculum. You'll go out and work in a big company and you'll be swimming in data. You need these things to be looking at data and finding relationships that humans wouldn't necessarily be able to find. WashU's in a very unique position, I think, to actually make that work and really have an impact, and I think raise its profile nationally as a result of that. To receive this award, one, I was very surprised, so it's a huge honor. I'm proud to say I'm a WashU alum. I'm proud that I'm an engineer with a WashU education, and I'm extremely honored. Well, thanks, Aaron. I still was very surprised when this call came that morning, and he told me about this, but it's a huge honor to represent WashU and to be recognized this way, so I want to thank you for that. Claire told me, she goes, well, you have a chance to talk, and I said, well, good, I can thank people I didn't thank in the video, but even though my parents are gone, they laid the foundation of my life back on a farm in central Nebraska that has carried me through. I'm pleased that I've got here tonight Arnie Mueller, who hired me. I've got my first boss, John Kramer, and John shaped me as an engineer in a lot of ways. But then I've also got Dave Calhoun here, my last boss, and just really what we had to do, the changes that are underway, I couldn't have done it without his help and support. So anyway, I'm extremely honored. I'm proud to be, as I said, a WashU engineer, and I just look forward to great things, from the School of Engineering. So thank you.
Yeah, that's your last boss. I don't know if you noticed, he had a picture with Mark Wrighton, so he trumped all you all. David Mollenhoff. Dave's a philanthropist, technology visionary, entrepreneur. Our next honoree, David Mollenhoff, is a well-known co-founder and founding architect of Salesforce, responsible for growing the company to $35 billion in revenue, part of the Dow Jones and S&P indices, and more than 72,000 employees. As a member of the board of directors for the Salesforce Foundation, David pioneered the 1-1-1 model of corporate philanthropy with 1% of product, equity, and employees' time devoted to supporting community programs. David's a third-generation Washington alumnus. He's passionate about the university and McKelvey engineering. He supports the Mollenhoff Family Scholarship and is an Elliott Society Life member.
I enrolled in Washington University after growing up in St. Louis. My grandfather went to WashU, my father and my uncle, so it was a natural family fit. I decided to pursue degrees in computer science and electrical engineering because I had been involved with computers since the time I was 10. My dad was an electrical engineer from WashU. He taught me about circuits, and I knew at that time it was what I wanted to do with my life. My freshman and sophomore year was involved with student life. After that, I moved on to be the vice president of Student Union. That was also a very interesting experience because it was my first real foray into leadership. After completing my MBA in 1994, my first job offer was from a company in Palo Alto, California called Metropolis Software. The internet didn't exist in a meaningful way. Companies were not ready to trust their data on it. It was a very educational experience. It ended up being a startup that failed, which was very good for me professionally because it taught me the importance of startups do fail and that you have to be ready and embrace that and learn from it. And each time that you fail, you take that knowledge and take it to the next endeavor. At Salesforce, I had the role of Chief Technology Officer. I was responsible for the original architecture and a lot of the core code that still runs it to this day. We had to invent a lot of things that had never been done before, and it proved to be a very successful idea. The highlight of my career was when we went public in 2004. And to be on the stage of the New York Stock Exchange ringing the opening bell was a fulfillment of everything that I felt like I had been working for in my professional career up to that time. So at Salesforce, one of the things that we did initially was we realized that we wanted to build a company that was a citizen of the communities in which it operated. And as part of that, we developed an idea that we called the 1-1-1 model, which was that we would give 1% of our equity, 1% of our employees' time, and 1% of our product away to nonprofit causes in our communities. One of the things that became obvious to me was important was philanthropy. And one of the first things that I did was to re-engage with the Scholars in Engineering program at WashU and begin to fund the Mollenhoff Family Scholarship. One of the other philanthropic endeavors that I've been involved with is a board member of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Orange County in the Inland Empire. This has been a very gratifying experience for me to see the ability to help underprivileged youth and to prepare them for the real world. Receiving the McKelvey Engineering Award is a tremendous validation of what I have achieved in my professional career. McKelvey gave me the grounding in computer science that led me on the path that I ultimately pursued, coupled with the business education that I learned at the Olin School, has been essential to my professional career and the places that I have gone with it. So the best advice that I could give an incoming McKelvey student is to not be afraid to fail. It is a necessary and important part of learning. You will have ideas that will seem great and you'll put a lot of effort into them and they won't pan out and you'll be disappointed, but you will take something from that because the next time you'll be wiser, you will have a better understanding of the problem that you're confronting, and you will find success.
Thank you, Dean Bobick. Thank you to the McKelvey School. This is a fantastic honor. I also want to thank my fiance and my parents and friends and family who are here. It's absolutely fantastic, and thank you all for coming. Thanks.
So it's Mark Wright and 2, Obama 1, just in case anybody's tracking. We now move on to the Engineering Entrepreneurship Award, which recognizes alumni entrepreneurs who advance innovative approaches and enable novel ideas for products, innovations, and technologies that are relevant to the economy now and into the future. I'll also say that this award has not been around as long as the Alumni Achievement Awards. It's one that we created a while back, partially in recognition of a bit of a shift of the school, of thinking about being a highly science-oriented engineering school to being not only a science-oriented engineering school, but one that produces people who want to go on and produce technology. It's this part of our effort to elevate innovation to be on equal footing with research. And so recognizing an entrepreneur is really a great way to do that. Tonight, we celebrate Eddie Liu, the co-founder of multiple tech companies and an active angel investor, serving as mentor, coach, advisor, or board director to more than 80 other individuals. His success as an entrepreneur include growing ShiftGig, an app connecting hourly labor with shift opportunities, from a mere idea to now more than 200 employees, serving more than 2,000 businesses, and recently having raised a total of $50 million in institutional capital. In addition to his entrepreneurial pursuits, Eddie's philanthropic venture, One Goal, empowers urban high school students on their journeys from college acceptance through graduation. Eddie was a Woodward Scholar, a member of Pi Tau Sigma and Kappa Sigma, and a varsity athlete while here at WashU.
My family taught me some important lessons early in life, being resourceful and dedication towards and whatever I focus on, and the importance of education. And so when I started WashU, it was engineering to get a medical degree. Ultimately, sophomore year, I had a research internship, but I learned more business during that summer, and so I fell in love with business. And I had the fortune in getting in both my engineering degree and my MBA in 5 years. I dabbled with a variety of student groups. The biggest impact is a fraternity, Kappa Sig, and I built some friendships that are time-tested over the last 30 years. I was lucky early in my career in St. Louis. There was a CEO named John Sitchy who kind of took me as a mentor on my first job, and I got to learn all kinds of business functions. And I probably was over my head with assignments that I got, but I learned a ton from my first 4 years at work. And when a young founder and that has high potential or wants to disrupt a space or solve a problem, and it comes to me seeking help, I've had some experiences where I feel fortunate to be able to and write a small check, but also spend my time guiding founders. And to date, I've invested in 86 startups. The inspiration to finding One Goal was just simply 3 friends sitting around a table talking about how we can impact our community and give back. We all had graduate degrees. Education was something that was not an opportunity, but it was almost mandatory for us. And we realized that there's a big part of the population that don't have the same educational opportunities that we had. And so we started a nonprofit where we'd work directly with the kids. And what we found out is that it worked. And so we hired a team. And what's amazing about One Goal is that the leadership, as well as the staff, are so mission driven. I've learned a ton from being part of One Goal as a co-founder and a board director, just because when you have a clear mission and you get a strong team behind that mission, you can do wonderful things. CodaPet is a tech platform enabling licensed veterinarians to go to people's houses for end-of-life care. My cousin's a veterinarian, and he was telling me that he left his career at a vet clinic, and I asked him what he was doing, and he said, I'm going to people's houses. But it's hard because it's hard to find customers and hard to take payments and hard to do all the administrative stuff. The idea came of like, why can't we add technology to eliminate all the administrative stuff so that veterinarians can do what they love, and that's take care of pets. My happiest moments were at WashU. Oftentimes it's with friends that I still maintain, but I think it's important to give back. The importance of education for the future of tomorrow is with our youth, and WashU is playing a huge impact on that. I'd like to thank my family, my wife, my children, Guy and Faye, as well as my parents and my brother. The advice that I would give for a student entering McKelvey Engineering School is to take advantage of all that the university and the school has to offer. Build your network, get to know professors, get internships and externships, because there's tons of opportunities to get hands-on practical experience, and ultimately develop friendships, because those friendships will carry you with you for life.
And so this one, we don't have to do any bending for. It says 2024 Engineering Entrepreneurship Award, Edward. There if you want, or hold it.
And first of all, Dean Bobbitt, thank you so much for this honor. And it was a surprise to get recognized, and I'm thrilled to be here. And to my fellow award and recipients, it's great to be with so many amazing people doing so many amazing things, and I look forward to connecting. A couple of you I went to school with, so I look forward to connecting. And I want to say thank you, and first of all, to my parents. And they were engineers, and they convinced me to come to WashU. I remember 24 and a half years ago, you brought me to this campus, and then they twisted my arm and told me you have to come to engineering school because it's a great way to learn problem solving. So thank you. And I also want to thank my wife, because my wife supports my career every which way, and there's a ton of risks. So on that note, I pulled the dictionary, the definition of an entrepreneur. And it is a person who starts and operates a business with huge financial risk. And first of all, thanks for supporting me through many startups. And for the students that I saw out there, and from my kids, Guy and Faye, and a WashU engineering degree does not have financial risks. It is easy to have a return on investment with this degree. I'm thankful to be part of this community.
I had the pleasure of talking to Eddie's parents earlier, and they talked about how the scholarship, the Woodward Scholarship, was instrumental in getting Eddie to come here. And so many of you here are providing such scholarships, and this is what you make possible. For our final honor this evening, it is my privilege to present the McKelvey Engineering Dean's Award to Charlotte and John Berra. The Dean's Award recognizes leadership, service, loyalty, and dedication to the university and the school over really a lifetime of commitment, qualities which are embodied by both Charlotte and John. Washington University has long been an important part of Charlotte and John's lives, from meeting here on campus, so that's pretty cool, while undergraduates, to their service together on WashU's Austin Regional Cabinet, and John having served for numerous years as a member of the McKelvey Engineering National Council. WashU has been and is a part of the fabric of their lives. As Elliott Society Danforth Circle Chancellor's Level members and Elliott Society Life members, they have supported engineering students through the John and Charlotte Berra Scholarship for nearly 30 years. By including WashU in their estate plans, they've ensured this support will continue in perpetuity for future generations of engineers. I want to personally thank you both for your support of Washington University, for your support of the engineering school, and just your incredible commitment to the lives of our students. I had the pleasure of first meeting Charlotte and John at one of my first scholarship dinners. And even then, it was very clear that this was Charlotte and John attending the event and advancing our students. Even though John was the engineering alum, it was clear that as a couple, they were dedicated to this mission.
I came to study system science and engineering, and between the subject matter and the professors, I really liked it, and I'm really glad I took that path as an education path.
I think I fell into sociology because of my parents. They both had their own businesses, and they both dealt with the public. And so I was used to talking to people, being around people. I was interested in people, and sociology just fell right in with those interests.
My favorite memory of Washington U is meeting Charlotte.
Oh.
By far and away.
We met on a blind date due to my sorority sister setting us up.
We actually got married just the October after we both graduated.
After leaving Washington U, I had my first job at AT&T in the accounting department, which was interesting for a sociology major. But there again, mostly you're dealing with people. Eventually, I decided I wanted to go into the medical field. My special interest was MRI and CAT scan. So I went into that field, working with a lot of people and having the challenge of letting them know that this machine was not so scary and this was something they could do, because many people have a lot of anxiety about these medical tests. So I felt like my degree actually came in handy at times. You never know where you're going to end up with your training.
My education at Washington University prepared me for so many aspects of my career. When I went to work at Monsanto as an automation engineer, everything I studied had a bearing on doing the job of trying to control the manufacture of chemicals and various products that Monsanto made. In my sales job, I simply flipped around to the supply side, but I was dealing with engineers who were really doing control systems and automation. So that preparation was extremely good.
Here at McKelvey Engineering, and frankly across the entire university, we're dedicated to the idea that financial resources should not be a limiting factor that prevents a student from matriculating to WashU. The only way we can achieve that is through philanthropic support, whether it's scholarships or estate commitments, which provide that type of support in perpetuity.
What inspired me to create the John and Charlotte Barra Scholarship actually goes back to how I wound up being able to go to Washington U, which is someone sponsored a scholarship and enabled me to go to Washington U. I would have never been able to go there if it wasn't for that scholarship. So I said to myself, if I ever reached a position where I could do the same thing, pay it forward, I would do that.
We both felt that Washington U was a great influence in our life and our success in life. And the students that we support are so deserving of our scholarship. They've worked very hard to get where they are, and all they need is a little boost so they can continue at Washington U.
Charlotte, John, on behalf of myself, the faculty and staff, but especially the students, you have our tremendous gratitude. Awarding both of you the Dean's Award for McKelvey Engineering this year is truly our honor. Congratulations.
We are so honored to receive this award from Dean Bobbitt. It is so unexpected and so appreciated.
And we would like to thank Dean Bobbitt for selecting us to receive this award. It truly is an honor. And I would add thanks on behalf of both Charlotte and me to all of the professors that we had, some of whom we actually shared in certain classes, that taught us so much and enabled us to go forward and achieve the things that we achieved. Well, I encourage Charlotte to talk because this is kind of a team thing with us. For sure. In almost everything we do. And at this last minute here, she said she didn't want to talk and that I should do all the talking, which is normal around our house.
I listen, he talks.
Yeah, you don't always listen. Well, anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I get that.
First of all, I'd like to thank Dean Bobbitt. And also the staff that was responsible for organizing all of this and putting this on and, you know, communicating with us and making sure we did the right things at the right time. There's a lot of work that goes into these awards, and thank you, Claire, and the others. We had some thank yous in our video about parents and professors and things like that, and you know, they mean so much. But in thinking about what I was going to say, I'd like to try to take a slightly different tack, and I hope they don't play the music on me. I'll try to keep it still within a minute. There's a futurist that I have used and followed. Oh, a little water. It's okay. A futurist that I've used and followed named Joel Barker. If you haven't heard of him, you should look him up online. Mr. Barker tells a story to exemplify a lot of the things that our award winners and many of you in the room have gone through. And the story kind of goes like this. There's a man walking on the beach one morning, and there are hundreds and hundreds of starfish that have been washed up. The tide has gone out. The starfish are essentially stranded on the beach. And as he's walking along the beach, he sees another man picking the starfish up one by one and throwing them back into the sea. And so the first man goes up to the guy throwing the starfish and says, "Why in the world would you do this? There's hundreds and hundreds of starfish out there, and you simply can't make a difference." So the man picked up a starfish, threw it out into the water, and said, "Made a difference to that starfish." And that's what this is all about. You know, that's why we sponsor the scholarships. Why, you know, I was a starfish, she was a starfish, many of you were starfishes. And Washington U threw us back in and showed us what we needed to do to grow and prosper and thrive based on our education. So throw a starfish back into the sea if you can, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, my wife Denise couldn't be here tonight. 3 weeks ago, we had our second grandchild, and next week we will have our third grandchild. Two different women. But we were also met as undergraduates. We got married right after I graduated MIT. She still had another year left at Wellesley, and at Wellesley, getting married before you graduated was heretical. So we've now been married, it'll be 43 years this year. You guys are simply an inspiration. I'll just say that. The interweaving of a professional life and a personal life becomes so clear. And it's just really wonderful. So that actually concludes our event this evening. John already thanked Claire and the rest of the team for putting on a spectacular event. I would like to ask two things. First of all, I would ask that the awardees and previous awardees remain here. We're going to take a group photo. And then I would like to ask everyone in the audience to join me again, giving tremendous recognition to tonight's honorees. Thank you.